Yo, welcome guys back to part 2 of our power ranking slash tier list maker of the TEC Doublade Division. I'm Schrosch, coach of the Munich Magmas, usually Munich Munchlaxes, but this season I'm Munich Magmas. But I'm not alone. Want to introduce yourself?
If you want to be spoiled for some reason, then I guess watch this video. That was a bad start already. Anyway.
Okay, so this is what we ranked so far. So we have 5 tiers: goaded, scary, I guess that works, not complete trash, and I hope I play you. Which I hope most of you don't land in. So we ranked half the coaches already. Let's go ahead and keep going with the Evergrande Groudons, coached by unknown user 404. So we have Garchomp, Slowbro, Toxtricity, Weavile, Mega Aggron, Decidueye, Keldeo, Clefairy, Munchlax, and Mandibuzz. So obviously a goated team just because of the fact there's a Munchlax on my screen. Yeah, what do you think about this team?
It's a good team, but I'm kind of mad because he sniped me twice. He picked Slowbro and Clefairy, which I wanted to pick. Yeah, but ignoring that, it's a really good team, I think. Like, you have Garchomp getting Scale Shot and moving up the tiers.
Yeah, it's like Scale Shot made this one so much better. It was already really good, but Scale Shot just made this one incredible. Like it can run SD Scale Shot and threaten chaos and everything, with like Earthquake and stuff like that. It can run mixed. Like it has a decent special attack stat and special move with like Fire Blast and stuff. And it can still run like a tank jump set with like rocks and not iron bobs, rough skin, rocky helmet to get a lot of chip on physical attackers, punish, U-turn and stuff. Yeah, then this team also has
the best physical defense, at least one of the best physical defensive Pokemon in this game. Just tanks almost everything, teleports out, gets another one safely, and recovers a third of its health.
Yeah, this team has a lot of physical defense. I feel like with Mega Aggron, I personally would have liked Slow King a bit more on this team, just because Mega Aggron provides so much physical defense already.
I would have liked Slow King more as well, because then I would have gotten Slowbro, but hey, that's what it is.
Yeah, because both Mega Aggron and Slowbro are pretty physically defensive, and especially it's kind of Mandibuzz is forced into a special defensive role. And yeah, I mean Munchlax is a SPDL monster, obviously. Munchlax the goat.
You don't even have to.
Oh my god, I drafted this. I would know about Munchlax. I drafted it 30 times or something like that. So yeah, it's really a monster.
Also delete the Ivy to get 6 hit KO by everything. It's OP. 3 points to the steal. And no, but now being honest, Munchlax is. I mean, you look at Munchlax, you don't think it tanks a lot, but then you see its stats and you think, oh, it does tank a lot.
Yeah, especially fire and ice. It gives you a free fire and ice resist, with also the ghost immunity obviously, which is amazing in draft because ghost is incredible typing. Then again, you have 2 dark types, and Mandibus, which is an actual defensive dark type, and Weavile, the offensive dark type. Weavile provides a really good speed tier. Then it goes to Keldeo, and I like the speed tiers actually. Weavile, Keldeo, and Garchomp, all above 100. Yeah, and then you have Pivot and Slowbro, Toxtricity. Decidueye, I think gets U-turn, Keldeo gets flip turn, Clefairy, Teleport and Baton Pass because I think you can't run Wish and Teleport on this actually, or something, or Soft Bite and Teleport, something like that. And Mandibus. So, good pivot game. Hazards, it has Rocks and Garchomp, Aggron, and Clefairy. I think that's it about hazards. No spikes, no T-spikes, no webs.
Decidueye, Mandibus get default, so that's pretty good as well.
Yeah, the Mandibus probably one of the best, if not the best defogger in the game. Yeah.
Especially getting woods this season makes it just much better.
Yeah, I feel like this team has, like, offensively, it has obviously Chomp, Weavile, Toxtricity, and Keldeo are the main offensive threats, and then it's kind of defensive the rest. So it's a pretty balanced team. It's not crazy offensive. It doesn't have the craziest offensive threats, I think. Like, Garchomp is really scary, and so is Weavile and Toxtricity. It has checks, like ground types check it pretty well, especially if they're like a Steelix or something like Padosand, Golurk, something like that. Really checks Toxtricity kind of well. Or, yeah. So it has checks, but it's still a really solid offensive threat. Special breaker. Shift gear is also always. It can even run mixed with like Drain Punch and stuff. I saw that before, and yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I just noticed is that two of his offensive ones, being Garchomp and Weavile, don't really have momentum, so he can struggle sometimes keeping up the offensive pressure.
Yeah, I mean, but
either he predicts, but then he just gets no damage, or he doesn't predict, clicks a move, and then he might lose some momentum. So that's something he has to be aware of. But at least Keldeo and Toxtricity can get some momentum, although Toxtricity also doesn't get momentum all the time because there's ground types and volts which can be absorbed. So his offensive ones, his only offensive one that safely gets momentum is Keldeo, which can be a problem, but doesn't really have to be a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, you want to bring in your offensive threats usually, and you don't want to. Often a pivot move on offensive move is just a waste. It doesn't do that much damage, and you want to bring momentum on those mons. You want to bring in to click buttons. Yeah, like breakers. Yeah, of course, momentum is always nice, but sometimes you just want to click buttons, and just having the U-turn button sometimes makes you go for the weaker move actually and do less damage instead of getting a KO. So I actually, yeah. What do you think? How would you rank this team?
Yeah, I think this is probably just a scary team because if you would rank this, and I guess that works, you would be absolutely crazy because Slowbro and Garchomp alone would probably carry a team into scary because you have one of the scariest offensive ones and one of the scariest defensive ones, and the other ones just support those well. So I would just put them into scary.
Yeah, and Mega Aggron is just unbreakable. Like, it's I think Mega Galate is a roll to kill it +2 or something because of filter,
Yeah,
and
that's absolutely crazy.
that's absolutely crazy. So yeah, Mega Aggron is absolutely a monster defensively. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
also,
think I would agree with Scary. So
Mega
let's
Aggron is one of the few mons that has just got the steel type and no second type, which can be really good sometimes.
yeah, all right. So next up we have the Jinx Jolts, Jolteade's team. Let's hope the dog actually loads. Yep, it does. Okay. So we have Zapdos, Excadrill, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Tita, Weezing Galar, Arcanine, Alakazam, Delmise, Mega Glalie, and Porygon. So yeah, we have the Sand offense core, Tita, Excadrill, always scary. Excadrill can run like Mode Breaker some weeks if it's like a Rotom or something. It's always a nice option, but your opponent always has to prep for Sand, even if you don't end up bringing it. Zapdos can actually abuse the Sand with stuff like Weather Ball. Um, then um, like Sand teams a lot of times are somewhat weak to ground, so you have that immunity in Zapdos, which gets hit by Stone Edge, which isn't the greatest. So an Edgequake switch-in would be pretty good on this team. Um, then
Yeah, well, he has Delmise and
yeah,
Weezing,
he has
kind of.
Delmise, Weezing are definitely, yeah, okay, they can definitely switch into ground moves, especially since one of the main mode breaker mons that use Earthquake that have stab Earthquake. Let's put it that way. Is Excadrill, and he
Yeah,
has
it's on
that
his team.
on his team itself. So Weezing Galai actually checks most ground types, um, or isn't immediately beaten by them. Um, then we have a Shifu Rapid Strike, great way to deal with um, opposing um, ground types. Then also fighting is there as one of the types. I would say most sand teams, a lot of sand teams are weak to, but you have Zapdos, you have Galar Weezing, Alakazam, which actually on sand doesn't take sand damage because of the Magic Guard ability. And Damais are all great against fighting types. So yeah, well drafted around that. You have Porygon for teleport momentum as well as Arcanine, which can intimidate and teleport around. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Any,
I mean, I like this team too.
yeah, Zapdos are
Fighting Sand is
also
also
great.
a thing you don't see too often. It's not uncommon, but you don't see it all too often. I think Urshifu is also a really good way to just force your opponent. But every time an opponent sees Urshifu Rapid Strike on the team, he always brings someone with Rock Helmet. So if you just,
Yeah,
for
so
example,
Urshifu Rapid Strike, it's
don't bring
especially in draft
Urshifu,
runs.
yeah, you can just don't
Runs.
bring Urshifu and just try to go with special power, and then he just wastes an item, which can become good sometimes. Sand hurts Arcanine a little bit, I think, because you're mostly, if you want to play defensively, gonna play boots and throw chips and away, and Arcanine has no real benefit out of that. But otherwise, I think Sand is pretty good on this team, just obviously doubling Excadrill speed, giving Zapdos a good weather ball, and Alakazam just doesn't care, so yeah, I think it's a pretty good team. Also, Tyranta for 13 points is massively cheap. I mean, if you look at Tyranta's stats, holy, that's just
Yeah, especially with the automatic defense SPDL boost from Sand.
Yep.
Yeah, I would probably. I don't like that Shifu is the only water type on his team.
Yeah, I think every team needs a bulky water type. Just
Yeah, yeah. Especially
it
sand,
almost
which
come
tends
around.
to be weak to water itself, and water types can at least pivot into other water types usually.
Yeah, I mean
And
every water type that gets ice coverage has a lot of fun against this team because you hit the only water resist, which is Dhelmise with ice moves,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you also hit Zapdos for super effective damage, and the other mons that resist water, the only other mon that resists water is Urshifu,
yeah,
and
that
that's
which
not
doesn't want to
defensive
take,
switching.
yeah, which doesn't want to get scald burned. They both don't want to get scald burned. Yeah, so
So
good.
that's also good.
I
Of course,
guess
yeah.
maybe sometimes if you fight like a Vaporeon with Water Absorb or something, you can bring Trace Porygon for that, which also has T-Bolt. But it's really that this team is just, for my taste, it's just way too weak to water. I mean, you have Zapdos, you have Dhelmise who can technically break it. You have coverage on Alakazam with Energy Ball and stuff, so maybe I'm a bit too. I think Weezing even gets like Thunderbolt, and Glalie gets Freeze Dry. So actually, there's some coverage you have for water types, but I feel like it's way too weak to water. I feel like
I
that's the
think
main problem on this team.
I think if he would have gotten Vaporeon on this team, it would have just been perfect because you can get wishes onto Weezing, onto Tyranitar, which just helps out the team to get more momentum, and you also get yourself a bulky water. Actually, I would have seen Vaporeon over Arcanine probably on this team.
Yeah, and especially if I when I looked, like we were like in round round 10 of the draft, and I looked at the draft board, and there were so many good bulky water types left. There was Suicune was still left. I think Melodic was still
Yeah,
left.
Suicune. I
There
have
were
good
so
memories
many
of
good
Suicune.
bulky water types. Get if you get one of them, drop something like I don't know what.
I don't really think you need Arcanine on this team, but I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, well,
yeah,
what does
it's
Arcanine really check? Grass types, you have Weezing and Zapdos already, and
I
Dhelmise.
guess Damas too, and
You have
even
for
Glalie
Fairy, you
Mega.
have Weezing.
Yeah, so maybe a good bulky water type would benefit this team way more than Arcanine does. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too.
so where do you want to put this team? It's still
Um,
scary, but just the water weakness is kind of.
yeah, water is just a really common type, so that's the problem.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you have a weakness
Everyone
to
should have a
poison
bulky
or
water
something,
type, and
may
if
not
if
be the
you
biggest
assume
problem.
everyone else does have a bulky water type, this team kind of
Yeah.
loses to every other team. So
And obviously stuff like Vaporeon, Slowking, Slowpoke also are bulky water types with still good offensive stats. So in this team they just come in, tank a hit, and then they do a lot of damage too.
yeah, let me look at the draft board real quick actually, and I hope it loads yet. Let's see what water types are actually available still. Slowbro Mega. I mean, that's. I mean, you have Mega. I hate that it doesn't load. Slowbro Mega. I mean, you have Mega
I mean, Primarina is still
Glalie,
open.
but
I think Primarina is good.
yeah, wait. I think actually even. I feel like I think I dropped Suicune. I drafted Suicune and then dropped it later. Or Swampert.
There's
I
also
think
Empoleon running
I
around
dropped
still.
Swampert too.
I think Empoleon also is really good in this team because it gets no sand damage.
Yeah, but it's once again it's weak to ground and
True.
fighting.
Has many common weaknesses.
Yeah, it shares weakness with other teammates.
could also go with
Jellicent,
Manaphy.
actually
Manaphy is not
Jellicent would be
bulky
good
as
on this
what,
team, I
but
think.
still.
Like Jellicent isn't that expensive. It is also a fighting immunity. I mean, you have Delmice.
He
You have
already
Delmice,
has,
yeah. But
he already has Ghost type, and I mean, he doesn't have problems with Ghost types, honestly. He has Tyrants on Porygon.
Gyarados,
You could
I
go
absolutely,
Jellicent.
I'm a bit biased towards Gyarados, especially Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados is my favorite Mega in the format. Actually, I think it's the most reliable thing ever. It's still available here. What else do we have? Swampert.
Tentacles also running
Thought
around.
Suicune was somewhere, but oh yeah, that's like Tentacruel. No, it's ground weak, so probably not. I thought there was maybe someone else picked it up. Where's Suicune? Yeah, so just the bulky water in general would definitely help this team out.
I think Swampert is the best one, honestly. Swampert gets no sand damage. Swampert has momentum. Swampert has decent offense. Swampert only has a grass weakness, which is absolutely no problem to this team because Zapdos and Galawheezing are just there. Also Delmice if he brings that. So I think Swampert is probably the best option you could just go with.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Swampert here. Also gets Flip Turn to bring in like extra drills and stuff.
Yeah.
Or even like it's low momentum in general on this team. The only slow momentum user is really Porygon.
Yeah. So overall, I think I would put this into. I guess that works. Especially
it's
if he
like
changes Arcanine for bulky water.
Yeah, I mean, sand or weather in general is always scary. So you always have to prep for it, and yeah, it's still scary, but just the water weakness, just yeah. If you, that's actually Swampert doesn't work that well because it doesn't resist water.
True. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bulky waters running around. Yeah, it has a big choice.
Yeah, but like we saw, like I just showed you with my extremely slow. This season just takes ages to load for some reason. But yeah, I hope you saw. There were still water types around that can fit on this team. So Joji, you could get one of those, and your team gets so much better.
Yep.
So moving on, Scarfed Lantern, team of TNT, I think. And my dog takes ages against.
Yeah, I found it.
Scarfed Lanterns. My dog takes ages to load right now. Come on. You know what? I think I just go to the rosters page. And I think it's. So here it is. We have Mew, we have Dracovish, Hippowdon, Fundity, Politoed, Aromatisse, Skuntank, Drampa, Stack Attacker, Breloom, Houndoom, Mega, and Dusknoir. So, yeah, this team's
just going crazy on weather.
Yeah,
it's for Dracovish. He has Drain for Dracovish. He has.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of weird actually. I think it's just kind of weird. He has hip Howdon, he has Sand, so ones that benefit from that are Dracovish and I guess Stack Attacker. Yeah, I guess, but I mean Stack Attacker drops to any special attack anyway because it's kind of extremely physically bulky, but yeah. And AV maybe, yeah. He has he has Rain, which supports Dracovish, and I guess Fundy T in general abuses the weather, but then again, it doesn't have recovery, which is what I personally don't like about Fundy. Like if this thing had Roost, it would be so much better. Like it has Weather Ball, it has Thunder, it has. But I think. Yeah, and then we have anything else. Breloom, I guess, kinda abuses the rain a bit. Yeah, but this is just a weird team, I think. Which usually only benefits from Sun, which this team doesn't have at all. Then Dramper, which Cloud9, I guess it doesn't take sand damage. In rain, opposing water moves aren't boosted. I guess in sand you can hit ground types with special moves without them having the defense boost. That's just too niche to. I mean, Cloud9 is and it's a niche, but actually decent ability. Like I drafted I drafted Sun with Golduck, which is a really good fit on Sun, I think, because it deals with fire, ground, and rock types, which are really threatening against Sun teams in general. Yeah, but this team it's just weird. I mean, it can work, but it's just extremely weird. And you have Hazard, you have Mew, you have Hippo, obviously. Yeah, Hazard game is pretty good. Like, Hippo is like one of the best Stealth Rock setters in the game. Same with Mew, with Rocks, Spikes, T-Spikes, whatever you really want. And Stack Attackers can set them. I think Skuntank gets T-Spikes. Then removal, you have what? Mew, Fundy, Skuntank, Dramper. So the Hazard game is actually it's decent, but this team is just so weird. It has a lot of anti-synergy, more so that I think the dual weather just gets in its way more than it helps a lot of times. So
it's kind of even triple weather if you want to go with Sunny Day on Mew, for example, and then do something with Houndoom. I mean, it can even be triple weather, so kind of confusing.
Yeah.
This is also, I mean, on one side it's obviously not the greatest.
Hail Aurora Whale Mew. I'm pretty sure Mew gets like Hail and Aurora Whale, so that's an option. Let me check this real quick.
I mean, triple weather can also be good because your opponent obviously most times can prep on sand, rain, and so that gets really hard to prep on. So where it goes in a 50-50, and maybe if he preps, he thinks, I'm sure he goes with sand, and then you come around with sun.
Using the Mega Houndoom. Yeah, but it's just too niche. It's just too. Overall, this team is just weird. This team is like it's not completely bad, but it's really hard to utilize, I think.
Yeah.
I would also, actually.
Speed tiers is kind of hard. I mean.
Yeah, speed tiers with weathers are usually.
Mew, Thunderous. That's it. I think is Houndoom over 100.
Fundy, I think one of them is 101 and one of them is 111, but I always forget which one is which.
Okay,
Then
Hondo has 115 and Thunderous has 101. So he has 3 months of 100 and above, which is okay.
yeah, but I mean
Very
you have
comfortable,
weather,
it's
so
okay.
you can technically have um, faster mons due to weather boosting abilities, but
Yeah.
the only mon that gets double speed in weather is Dracovish in sand. And
Yeah.
Dracovish is generally a mon known for being even on like a lot. Even if you draft a sand setter, a lot of times you end up bringing strong Dracovish still because it's just boosting the fish's rent even further. And I kind of want to. I want to. Where do we want to put it? This is hard to rank. I think
This is very hard. You can not offending him, but I think it's between the lowest and the second lowest.
yeah. I think I would put it in not complete.
Yeah.
I mean, Dracovish can still just demolish mons if you're not
Yeah.
prepped well. Look at Pulsey 2 seasons ago. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
prep enough for Dracovish, or if you just don't have one that can check it properly, alone that can lose you the match probably. So, yeah.
So let's put it in not complete trash. Okay. Sorry, TNT. I love you, but yeah, your team is kinda just weird. So next up we have myself.
Yeah.
And me. Yes, there we go. So I have the Jirachi. Wait, where did it go back? I have Jirachi, Mega Gyarados, Nidoking, Cinderace, Rotom Fan, Porygon 2, Noivern, Gourgeist, Tabulele, Colossal, and Sog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mega Gyarados broken.
Yeah, absolutely. This one is absolutely goaded. It's
Also,
after Munchlax. This is the mon I drafted the most in all around, and probably this is the mon I got the most kills with in total. And I actually put it. It actually uh, is kill leader of PGO assassins, where apparently like have 3 offensive water with Keldeo and Greninja, and Mega Gyarados is number 1 in the top 5 of kill leaders. So apparently offensive waters are insanely strong in PGO Assassins Division. I think actually Dracovish is up there too. So yeah, offensive waters are apparently really good in this division. But we're not talking about that. Gyarados still a great mon. Good synergy with Nidoking. I basically I drafted. I really loved the Gyarados Nidoqueen core because it just works so well. Like Nidoqueen absorbs um, absorbs electric move, absorbs grass moves kinda. Not like it's not a resist, but it's not weak to them, and fighting moves and fairy moves, which are Gyarados, Mega Gyarados weaknesses. And it also breaks grass types with like Sludge Wave. And this is just why I love this core so much. And I just wanted to. I could have gotten Nido Queen again, but I kind of wanted to mix it up a bit and try out if I like the Nido Gyarados core as much as I like it with Nido Queen. And
many people
Yeah.
sleep on defensive Nidoking. I mean, defensive Nidoking is really good. It's not maybe not as good as Nidoqueen defensively, but as I said, many people sleep on that. I think defensive Nidoking, just with Black Sludge as a lead, Stealth Rocks and stuff, still does a lot. It tanks a lot. Yeah, just a thing I think is slept on.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Also, Cinderace without Libero is definitely one. Many people underestimate. Many people just say, "Oh, if it doesn't have Libero, it's trash." No, I mean
yeah, you
I
kind
have
of
seen it do
with
a lot of work.
stuff like
Also, just
Cinderace and
that the fact
Blaziken,
that it
which have,
can
or
swap
even or Greninja.
hazards is amazing.
Yeah, like Cinderace, like same with like Blaziken and Greninja, where the hidden ability is banned. Um, a lot of times you just forget how Blaze and stuff works. Like you like I lost to a Cinderace before because I thought, yeah, I lived this hit because I didn't put it in Blaze range on the Cork, and then my Mega Galate got O-code by a Pyro Ball, even though I thought I lived it. So a lot of people forget about that, and yeah, that's just yeah, that's just one thing about it. Also,
Also, you're scared of setting stuff like sticky web. If you, I mean, the Cinderace just comes in, has boots maybe, and just clicks chord change. I think it's called, and boom, you have the sticky web now, and maybe he steals even your screens. So,
yeah, true.
yeah.
Yeah, then also, yeah, P2 is just a nice sponge for everything. With
Yeah.
recovery, just the Violet is just takes everything on defensively that's not a fighting type, or um, like it doesn't like toxic, but yeah,
I
just
think also P2 is important for this team. Just to come into Ghost moves because you have two Psychic types and the Ghost type. And
yeah,
you don't really
and
want Gyarados to switch
yeah,
into.
especially
I
before,
mean,
yeah,
Gyarados tanks, so it can switch in,
yeah,
but
Gyarados has
you,
actually a similar bulk than like Umbreon. Like it's
yeah.
super
I mean,
defensive, and
you
people
want
sleep on that.
Gyarados
Just
to stay as high as possible, so you can
yeah, and if,
go
especially
for
before I
defenses.
Mega Evolve, I don't want to switch into Ghost types.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're on full health, and Gyarados is quite bulky, so if you're on full health, you can easily tank a hit, go for defense, and yeah, if you have break the walls, bulky waters and stuff enough, just with one defense, I think Gyarados can go through.
Yeah, yeah. Also, sorry, Red, for picking Fan again. I don't know if
Rotom
you
fan best
if
ability
you
in the game changer, man.
I don't know if you were in this if you were in this season where I played, like it was 2 seasons ago where I played Fat Red with Rotom Fan, and I was like down 1-4, 1-5, something like that, and I only had Rotom Fan in the back, and I just clicked air slash, and like I don't know if it was discharge or thunderbolt, but I clicked it. I switched between those two moves and always got a crit or a flinch or a para or something, and
Oh, man.
uh, I actually managed to win this game, even though I definitely shouldn't. And that's actually the reason why Red dropped to Ralts in the first place. Like if he won one more game, he wouldn't have relegated and would have stayed in Korea. Um, yeah.
Also, a thing I just
So I
saw
have
is
the Hex Core in Jirachi and Rotom Fan. Typical Hex Core.
I think I
It
just saw
also
one. You
Rotom
have
Fan gets T
Lele and
Wave.
Jirachi, so you can go. How's the move called?
You can even bring like
He's very fast.
like
He's so
Thunder
fast.
Wave Gyarados, Thunder Wave Rotom, Thunder Wave P2, um, and just spam Iron Head with Jirachi, or
Yeah.
even like expanding Force on Jirachi because abusing
Yeah,
Tapu Lele.
Lele, Terrain.
and yeah, I think everything on my team has actually a purpose. So I kind of like my team.
I actually never saw Colossal in action, so I'm keen to see. Excited
Yeah,
to see
I
what
brought it
that
brought
can
it in
do.
week one because my opponent had Volcarona
I mean, yeah,
and
that's
Mega
that's
Mobile,
that's a
and
valid reason.
Colossal was but the only one that could take on both of these, and it actually
I
checked
want to
both of
see
these,
at
which
least
was
one
nice.
weakness policy steam engine sweep this season
Yeah, it was not.
coming into flip turn.
Yeah, like this week it definitely had. It couldn't do that because it was there to check Volcarona mainly, and somewhat Mobile. But with Psychic Terrain up, it can Sucker Punch, so it's a lot less scary if I can offensively check it. Um, so it was mainly there for the Volcarona. Yeah, so where do you rank my team?
I think I would rank that team in scary. Uh,
Okay.
it's a really good team, close to goated, I think. Um, but the other goated teams are just, I have to, those are just two teams that I think no one can match in this league.
Yeah. Like fucking broken.
Yeah. So once Orange revealed the schedule, I was just praying. I'm not playing him, but actually I'm playing him. So that's one loss I surely have this season, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So my team goes scary. Okay. So next up we have Orton. I think Orton is. Let me put up this team. Is the dogs as slow as it is for me this season? Okay, so we have Celesteela, Mega Kangaskhan, Araquanid, Whimsicott, Amoonguss, Nightis, Alola, Mienshao, Zygarde, 10%, Conkeldurr, Mesprit, and Sceptile. Yep, that's it.
Kind of a weird one. Obviously, first of all, you know Mienshao and Conkeldurr, which I don't quite get. I mean, confusing to have two fighting types that both are offensive.
Yeah,
I mean,
one's
if you have,
fast,
for
one's
example,
slow.
Mienshao plus
Yeah.
Hitmontop or something like that, I would think, okay, Hitmontop does something completely else. But Mienshao and Conkeldurr are just basically two offensive mons, one a bit faster and not doing that much damage, and the other one being slower and doing more damage, but essentially they're both offensive fighting types, so I don't really get why you would have those both.
Yeah. I mean, not like it's that weak to um, not that weak to dark or something, or whether it's normal, not at all.
Yeah, he has two fairy switchings as well, but still kind of. I mean, fairy hits everything except Amoonguss and Celesteela, and obviously hits 3 months very effectively. I mean, okay, Steela's just one you can always throw into fairies and
Yeah.
without thinking.
And the Moongus as well because of the regenerator. But both your fairy resists are weak to fire.
Yeah.
So if you
Also,
yeah.
I forgot what I want to say. You have two regenerator mons which can work pretty well together because you can just constantly switch between Amoonguss and Mienshao and
Yeah, U-turn stuff
use up
like
to regenerator. So I think that's a good thing as well.
yeah, and this team. I mean, kinda. What are the main offense? Like it has roller veil. It has webs, but the offense just isn't that insane. Like the setup often, yeah, it's not that insane that you could that you could actually validate putting screens in. Yeah, I mean it's kind of it's more defensive than offensive, I would say. So the Aurora Way kind of. I mean it's always nice to have like um, but I feel like yeah, usually with Aurora Way you want to make use of it as much as possible and set up with your mount behind the screens, and especially with like web support.
I don't really see what Septile's doing on this team.
I think it's a mascot pick.
It's a third grass type. There's no terrain. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the third. Yeah, it's not a flying weakness. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flying weaknesses,
Yeah,
and only resists our Celesteela. That's it. Only flying resists the Celesteela. And offensively, it doesn't even threaten them that much. Like offensively, it's on flying types are only threatened by Ninetales. I mean, you have Psydark, um, which grounds the flying types and stuff. But yeah, this team has an insane flying weakness.
Really strong offensively. He has only 100 base attack, which is not that much, I guess. That being your only kind of physical mon against flying types is month. I mean, if you have, for example, Tornado's T, just wreck the team, you know.
Yeah, so I feel like this flying weakness. Like, look at something like what what are good offensive flying types. Something like maybe a Taunty with Heatwave. Taunty with Heatwave against this team, or something like something like Talonflame.
Yeah.
Just 6-0 this team kinda. Or even like a Charizard or something. Zapdos. Zapdos is super 6-0 this team. Especially with it's right next to this on your roster. You have Zapdos on Jolteon's team right next to this team. You set up it's on sun, it's on sand, but you set up like on this against this team. You set up rain with something, maybe like a Porygon. Then you teleport out into Zapdos and click Thunder and Hurricane. And I mean, okay, there's Ninetales to reset the weather, but
Ninetales doesn't really tank. I mean, offensively.
But therefore you have the Excadrill and stuff. And if he goes Ninetales, you just go Tita, prevent Aurora Wave from going up, and then go Excadrill and go. Like
it's kind of a weird team. He has a lot of doubling types. There's 3 grass types, 2 fighting types.
Yeah, and his speed tiers, he has like Mienshao, Whimsicott, Sceptile, Zygarde, so and Ninetales. So he has a lot of really really fast mons. Most of them are grass or fairy types, so also super weak to poison. And
where would you place the team?
I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's either I hope to play you or not complete trash.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to place anyone in the rows here.
Yeah, because then if you play them, to Do I actually play them?
I mean,
Don't
I
think I
want to
do.
spoil, but I already played them, so that's not the thing. I'm just like, if you play someone the lowest tier, you kind of feel bad. I don't know.
Yeah, but I really don't really rate this team.
Yeah, but I think we have to put them in the lowest tier, sadly.
Yeah, I think so too. So next up we have
No offense, but
yeah.
yeah, just two dumb boys trolling around, so don't take it for, I don't know what to say, my English is trash.
Yeah, it's just not a good team. Like sure, every team can work. Like it doesn't have the most awful mounts, but you know. So next up we have BL Pawn and
Yep,
Detroit Tarantrums. Okay, so we have Tonti, Tangrove, Blissey, Scizor, Raikou, Swampert, Mega, Pelipper, Toxicroak, Wigglytuff, Spiritomb, Turtonator, and Crabominable.
I really like this team.
Okay, yeah, I really like this. Yeah, this team um it has a regenerator core, Tonti, Tangrove. I think that's a regenerator. Yeah,
If you see the first 3 months, you don't,
yeah, you like that star, and then you see Swampert, Mega, Pelipper.
first 3 months, and you think, I don't want to prep anymore.
No, it's Rain with stall and oh my god.
Rain is just helping this team out so good. So good, so much.
Yeah, especially Tonti, which can Hurricane, Weather Ball, and stuff.
From Tangrove and Scizor. It thunders with Raikou.
Yeah, weaken fire moves.
Swampert explains itself. Toxicroak has dry skin. Just amazing.
Yeah, like this team is, yeah. This team. Do we put it in golded already?
I mean, if you don't stop the rain, you can just lose off that. Oh, I mean, also Wigglytuff has Wigglytuff and Blissey with maybe the highest HP wishes. Also Chansey somewhere in there, but Blissey and Wigglytuff, their wishes can just full heal a Pokemon sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's also ones like Alomola and stuff, which are
doesn't have rules, so yeah.
yeah. This team is yeah. This team is
I think it's goated. I think it's
yeah. Also with weather, usually the speed tiers don't even matter that much because you have a Mega Swampert, but you have good speed tiers in Tonti, Raikou, and stuff like that. Obviously Mega Swampert. Like then it goes then it drops a bit, but like I think then it drops to Toxicroak and then it's like yeah, like we don't have much about around the 100 speed tier, which usually hurts you, but with the Swampert pick, it's just around that. I think around that mark, you have to you can scarf stuff to outspeed Swampert and Rain. I think, not sure, but I think.
Yeah, the only small thing I would criticize is maybe the hazard game because you have Blissey and Mega Swampert, but normal Swampert wants to have rocks. I don't think you want rocks on Mega Swampert, so you basically only have Blissey, and I don't think you.
I guess Wigglytuff too. I mean, you don't really need Wigglytuff if you don't have if you have a Blissey. It's kind of I think it's just basically just to have a fairy, but yeah, Wigglytuff is yeah I don't I it does just Blissey's job. Wish, protect, teleport. I guess on weekly tough, Wish teleport is actually legal, but on the same set. No wait.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have
This.
rocks on weekly tough, you can play something else on Blissey, so that might be good, but otherwise.
Yeah, that's okay. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a go-to team. I mean.
Yeah, totally agreed. This team is scary. So next up we have Soka Scissors of Fantasy. So he has the Mega Galate, Hydreigon, Rotom Wash, Heatran, Togekiss, Golipede, Serena, Padosand, Licky, Metang, and Ninjask. So, pretty scary offensive team, but I don't know why he has two speed boosting bug types.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he
I
just
think
picked
that's
up
a.
Ninjask because there was nothing better in the 2 points. Because
I
Ninjask
mean,
is
you can always get
you
some.
don't bring it often, you bring it once or twice, and it does its job, and yeah. So
I mean, it gets like you can run like no item acrobatics and stuff.
yeah, can do some damage if you see your opponent
You
has
turn
a flying
around.
weakness, maybe can do some stuff.
Fast U-turn, I guess.
Yeah,
And I
I
really
think
don't
also
think Ninjas gives
Hydreigon
this team a
Rotom
lot.
Wash is defensively a really good core. Yeah.
Like, Mega Galate Hydreigon is a.
Did I just say big?
Yeah, that means you need a good fairy resist, but you have Heatran, so you covered that. You also have Scolipede and Metang, so you're covered for the fairy weakness from the first two really well already. I guess also Flying Resist, also Heatran and Metang, so and also like U-turn resist this Heatran. I kind of I don't know if you really need that, but yeah, you have also Scolipede. Like flame body Heatran is a thing, especially in draft.
For example, if you are really predicting really well and your opponent clicks U-turn with Urshifu and you go into Heatran, for some reason, if you click that and then you get the burn, you just the happiest man on earth.
Yeah. Or you can just do like T-Wave, make a Galate, T-Wave Dragon, T-Wave Rotom Wash, and then go into Togekiss and crit and flinch everything. Fun. Technically, you can do that. Yeah. So, how do you rank this team?
I think it's a scary team.
Yeah.
It's a team that is definitely scary offensively. Just Mega Galate, Hydreigon, and Scolipede. Just tools offensively that are scary. Also has a lot of bulky offense, but also does lack on defense. So it's a pretty scary team, and I would rank it as scary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it also has pretty decent speed tiers. I mean, Ninjask is speed tier you don't need if you click protect on Scolipede once you outspeed everything not scarfed, and even most scarfers are outsped. And you won't bring in Scolipede into the Scarfer that you are weak to, because until this thing comes in, you can click protect at least once, you waste at least 2 turns, and until you face that other Scarfer, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get up a sword stance with Scolipede, you can sometimes go through just because of.
Yeah, even just spikes, T-spikes are always. That's actually something you could do if you bring Scolipede for hazards and Ninjask to sweep. But I guess other than that, Ninjask is kinda. Yeah, Ninjask is. I don't know what it's doing here.
You just pick it because you don't find something else better. So you just pick up a fast one that can do damage.
Yeah, but I just think it's a bit Yeah, you
Also
don't need it
changes
at
to
all if you
maybe
have a Scolipede. They do the same thing.
changes to maybe
Literally
good
the
to
same thing.
force opponents to play jolly or timid because they always have to consider that ninjas could come. So that's maybe a good point.
Okay, so moving on to the last team, we have Lynn and the Washington Wishy-Washis. I think it's somewhere. Yep, here it is. So we have the Tapu Fini, the Carbonite, Spectria, Mega Venusaur, Incineroar, Miltank, Hitmontop, Zygarde, Azelf, and Pikachu. First of all, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, round 8 Zygarde. Yeah.
That's definitely good strategy there to leave it until round 8.
Yeah, but I drafted Zygarde pretty late into a draft before, so like I think it was draft or something. So this one sometimes stays around for long, and yeah. Spectria obviously always kind of worked by by normal and dark types, but therefore you need a good fighting type. Your fighting type is Hitmontop. Yeah,
It's not
you,
bad, but
it's
it's
not.
slow and
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good low tier fighting type. Don't get me wrong, but it's not.
yeah,
It's not the the kind of fighting type you want to play with Spectria. You
yeah, I
really
think
need
you
a
want to have
reliable.
Spectre with stuff like I mean that's really unlikely to get, but if you can pair it with stuff like Mega Glade or something, that'd be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but Mega Glade kind of shares the weaknesses. Like I think something like a Terrakion or something would be pretty good.
Yeah,
Take
that would also be. I mean,
It's not
Mega
weak
Glade
to
and Ghost
Ghost. It's
would
not weak.
pair
It,
well,
it
I think,
gets
because
justified
Spectre
boost
beats
from dark
mostly
moves.
psychics.
So yeah, Terrakion would be. I think Terrakion could work pretty well with Spectria.
Yeah, also he doesn't have a rock type if I'm not dumb, so Terrakion wouldn't actually be bad. Just having offensive
Yeah,
Stone Edge sometimes can be helpful.
I mean, who really needs a rock type? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
bad
not a
to have it.
required type at all.
That was
Like,
what I want to say.
there are good rock types. Like, there's this Terrakion. I love Neolego personally. Mega Diancie, obviously. Stuff like that are great rock types, but you don't need it. Like, you don't really
Also,
need a rock type.
what I like a lot is that Beanie and Zygarde together, because Zygarde mostly kicks ground type moves, and then the Misty Terrain weakening to opposing dragon type moves is, I think, valuable. Really valuable.
Yeah, with Feeny, with Misty Terrain in general, yeah, you have to watch out to not rely on your dragon stabs too much, which Zygarde doesn't doesn't at all.
Yeah,
Really,
Zygarde just sometimes
basically
clicks
just clicks
outrage, but
thousand arrows, sometimes thousand waves. Like Zygarde is the kind of mon who has a base 90, base power 100, like 100% power trapping move, which is it barely ever runs, just because arrows is just so much better. So much more spammable. The most spammable move in the game. Like you think you have a ground immunity. No, you don't. Here's what I got. Um, yeah. So
Zygarde definitely catches mons like Zapdos and Steeler, because those are weak to 1000 arrows.
yeah, also
So
you
you don't
kinda
need, yeah, wall ground types. No, you don't wall Zygarde.
yeah. Also like if you have a Feeny and you have the Misty Terrain up, then you have the Zygarde in, and then you're up against the Gliscor, who hasn't activated its Toxic Orb yet, and you click 1000 arrows, and it doesn't get up to Toxic Orb, which is huge for Gliscor.
But Gliscor flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, but not after 1,000 arrows.
Puts him to ground, right? I forgot.
Yeah,
I
so
thought just hits. Yeah,
which
true,
is,
true.
that's a pretty niche thing,
Yeah,
but
think about that.
yeah. Yeah,
So
Corviknight
just
obviously
for course
really,
I got now
really
10
reliable.
other ones too.
Corviknight, one of the most reliable T-Foggers in the game. Your rockers are Miltank,
Tank
Azelf.
is a good rocker because it's fast and bulky.
Yeah, Azelf is a good rocker, but and Miltank is the other one. You have only two rockers, so Hazard Game isn't the greatest. But you have Defoggers, Infini, Corviknight, Hitmontop, Rapid Sprint. Yeah.
Explode or something. Yeah.
You have got removal, but not the greatest setters. Like Azelf is reliable, but it's basically just mainly it will run a suicide lead with rocks, but that's the role it's forced to.
Get momentum.
Azelf got some momentum in 2 ways.
Hitmontop and Azelf, do they get momentum?
I'm pretty sure Azelf gets U-turn. Hitmontop doesn't get momentum. I used it before.
Okay, so he has 3 months with momentum.
Has Corviknight, Incineroar, and Azelf. Pikachu gets Volt Switch, but it doesn't come to any battles unless it's like the last week. Yeah, Pikachu is.
It can be a problem, but obviously.
Yeah, if you don't prep for it, Pikachu is actually can actually be kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, what was the item of Pikachu called? Light Ball, yeah. Light Ball is just a good item. You have 90 base speed on Pikachu. It just has 50 base special attack and 55 attack, but with Light Ball both get doubled. So you actually have decent damage output.
Yeah, for sure. I yet have to get swept by a Pikachu, but in draft, I don't think I ever. No, I think on ladder, I think. Like I think I yet have to get swept by a Pikachu. But it definitely can be scary. Yeah, I agree with that. So, where do we want to put them? Like speed tiers are